Rear Admiral V. Rajasekharan to give his opening comments on this entire topic.
Mankind existed on this earth for, I don't know, maybe millions of years. And the way they lived, almost, if you see 95% of the 98% of the time, they lived in the same standard manual labor and normal conventional tools and all. But the Industrial Revolution started from somewhere in 1760 to 1840. In 80 years, the scenario of living on earth totally got changed. Just 8 years. 80 years as compared to millions of years is maybe fraction of that time. But that has changed. Now, how it happened and how their transformation taking place, I will just cover in terms of that, that will, skill and attitude that previous panelist has spoken, that will, skill and attitude. Now that Industrial Revolution time, it was state sponsored, government sponsored, society sponsored, like the East India Company, though it's a private company, but it was supported by the, at the back end by the government. The society is transformed, sponsored, and everything they have tried to, it started with textile industry. I'm sure all of you, you know that it started with the textile industry. And off-spin, when the textile industry wanted that metal and steel and iron has gone, the transportation, steam engines, everything one over the other, they started coming. And there was, that time I believe, when you read the books and all, it says, like that nowadays if when the cricket World Cup cricket match is going on, even Nukkad, that children will play only cricket. And when the football is there, even Nukkad, they will play football only. So like that, I believe those days in Britain, there used to be only inventions. Like there used to be so much of importance. If anyone who invented something, immediately used to get patented, they used to get national hero status. And if someone goes around the world on the sea and finds the sea trade and sea routes, when he comes back, he is given welcome equal to almost next to the god. So that type of importance they have given that. So the will, they started from the government. The will has to start from the government, then automatically the push is there and that things will happen. Now, till now, I don't want to go into the political, but for over a few years, we haven't got a stable government. Now we got a government where they don't have to do the crisis management of sticking onto the seat with a decent majority they got. And there is a will has come, saying that let us make it in India. So the will party is going to get covered. Next is the skill level. I'm sure you must have seen the electricians and they come home for doing some repairs and all. That chap take the cable and puts in his mouth and strips that with the teeth. The carpenter comes, he takes the screw and hammers it. When you say it's a screw, so he doesn't know that the meaning of the screw itself is to screw it, but he doesn't do that. So that is the skill set which we have in India. And we make in India needle to the nuclear bomb. But the needle doesn't have the sharpness to pierce through. And thankfully we not got an opportunity to use it, and I pray God that we should not use that nuclear bomb also. So that when that quality is not there, you generally get even as a user, you only look at quality. Unless there is a compulsion that there is nothing else and you are forced to take it, like when Air India was there and there is nothing else, you are forced to take that Air India, whatever attitude and whatever service he has given. So unless that is there, but if you have a choice, then you will get into the problem. So the skill set is one thing which is presently request to be this thing. The next is attitude. That attitude, what happens is somehow it has come into Indian mind, maybe because of years of slavery. Anything that comes from abroad is definitely gold. And if the same gold is made in India, they look with suspicion. Is it gold or is it gold plated? And how could he get that gold made in India? It couldn't have been possible. So then that research starts. It becomes the responsibility of the chap who made the gold to prove that it is pure gold. And for a chap who is suspecting and checking, however you prove the other side, will not happen. Now I am a submariner, and submarine technology is not that common in developing countries. Over last maybe few years we have been dependent on the foreign countries, and when you deal with them, it really upsets. It really makes you feel so miserable, especially when you're dealing with them, when you go for price negotiations and all, the way they behave, because they know that we have no other option. You have taken the submarine, and unless you take the space from them, unless you take the technology, you cannot tie up the costly submarine alongside. So the way they behave, they know when the PNC says, if you want, take it, otherwise you are going tomorrow. So they blackmail that. That was the time we used to feel miserable. It's nothing but slavery. If you have to depend on someone so intimately, And without his help, you are not able to move forward. You don't have an independence. You are still in that pre-independence era only, where you are still depending on the foreign countries. So that is the time, whatever it happened, it has come, that Make in India. Yes, it will be difficult initially, but suppose if a few thousand crores project, if it gets executed in India, you may be spending 80%, 70% of the money back to the foreign country which has given you the transport technology or the equipment, because that equipment are not available in India. But the very fact that you are making in India, you are developing the skill set, even the manual skill set. The chap who is doing that installation, equipment, integration and outfitting, he will have the technology, and when he is making it, he will understand, oh, it is that simple. I didn't know that it is that simple. Otherwise, I also could have not made it. And in the process, the associate industry will develop. Out of 50,000 crores project which has been recently cleared for that 75 India submarine, even if 30,000 crores go back to that foreign country who has given the transfer of technology, the 20,000 crores if it remains, just imagine 20,000 crores for one project if it gets spread into the society. How much economic growth, how much job employment it will give, how many ancillary units will come up. So it's very good thinking. And with this will and that attitude changing, that attitude changing means it should change. Because if you want to stand independently on your own without depending on someone, without getting blackmailed by him, then you have to grow. Changing, and the skill set is the one which is required to be brought in. And thankfully the societies are looking at how to improve this skill set in the higher education, and I think we will be definitely in the right direction and we will move forward and we will get industrial independence sooner or later. Thank you.